Hello everyone and welcome back to the Divine Sovereign Beings podcast. My name is Alexis.
My name is Jace.
And we're just clearing the space. We're just going to open up the space with good intentions. We're excited to bring another episode your way. We always get such wonderful feedback from our lovely friends. So shout out to all of you who are friends of ours and watch this, and our parents as well. We love you very much, and I hope you like our setup that we created today. We decided to include all of our little plant friends, but we didn't realize that they would be greened out, but it looks pretty cool. And
it's our new set idea.
Yes.
Immersive set foliage.
Yes. I like it. So we've got a lot going on. We use a green screen, so that's why it looks this way.
Wait, we're using a green screen?
It's been fun.
That's how you did all this?
Well, I don't know. Check what color your drink is and let me know how it responds to...
Whoa. It's only partial see-through.
I wish it was
there we go.
see-through. Needs
there
more
we go.
light on it. That's funny. For those of you listening and not watching, he's drinking a green matcha drink, and it is green, so it is trying to be transparent. But that's the magic of our podcast. We're always pushing the limits for you guys. We're constantly bringing on new things, so
that's
hope
right.
to keep you entertained and smiling. We're happy to be back. We're fresh out of Easter weekend 2020. And Jason and I went on an Easter adventure, in a way, on Sunday. And
that's right.
We wanted to tell you all about it. And then we're going to go into a few topics that are related and touch on, I think, a few political things and then some funny things. And we hope you enjoy the show. We're excited to bring it here to you.
So welcome. Play the intro again. No, I'm just kidding.
Play it 6 more times.
So, yeah, our Easter adventure is the first thing I think we wanted to talk about. And this all started because, before I explain the adventure,
please,
I'll explain what prompted the adventure. I have been just super hardcore researching mining lately for some reason. It just keeps coming up. Like, it kind of synchronistically ties into the cryptocurrency, like, deep dives I've been researching, as you guys might know about, because, there's mining with cryptocurrency. But synchronistically, I've been, like, hardcore researching just, like, normal mining, and specifically mining here in Arizona, and, like, the history of it, and the locations, and, like, just really tapping into, like, that kind of primal, like, nature of, like, utilizing the planet's resources and like
and mapping the geography, knowing where elements are.
Right.
It's like
Yes.
a connection to the elementals.
Yes.
And learning what elementals can then create more complex things like these crystals and colors. I love it.
Like, I learned that right down the road, well, kind of, yeah, it's pretty hot. Be careful. Don't burn yourself.
Okay.
You can touch just the top and you might not burn yourself.
I don't know.
Yeah, right near my college, like maybe an hour away, I learned is the biggest diamond mine in the country in California, in Central California, and near Slow,
okay.
near San Luis Obispo.
Wow.
And it's like near Bakersfield, more like.
Well, there's like 7 volcanoes there.
Yeah, I guess that would.
Dormant volcanoes.
Well, yeah, those are tiny though. But the region is pretty volcanic. But
yeah.
it is like maybe a couple hours away.
That's still a pretty big deal. Like.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, wow, there's
a lot of stuff going on where you went to college.
Yeah,
Seems like we're always learning new things about that area.
Future proofs past.
There you go.
So I saw that, and then I started researching all the like copper mines here in Arizona, and I learned that Chrysocolla and malachite are derivatives of copper, and that in these locations where these copper mines are, there's a ton of Chrysocolla and malachite and azurite, which are all this kind of bluish green, turquoisey color. You know, malachite's that kind of deep green. Azurite is like a really deep blue, and then Chrysocolla is kind of like a combination of the two, and you get like really rich.
That makes sense.
Well, I don't know if it's literally like
it's another...
chemically a combination of the two, but they are all very related. They're all like copper oxide compounds with like, I think
other
one of them has
elements or
something. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm sure iron is involved because we found a lot of iron with it. At least that's what I think we're finding.
Yeah.
It's hard to really know. I wish we had some type of spectrometer where we could just stick the item we find in there and laser it and tell me all of the elements. That would be so cool.
These pieces of, I think they're hematite, which is iron that we found. I'm pretty sure they're hematite. They're either hematite or they are covalite, which is a copper sulfide compound. So it's weird because there's all these different slight variations where you add in like, you don't even have to add in a new element. You can add in just like a number, like if you're thinking of chemistry, like carbon to sulfide. I
struggled with chemistry.
I did too, and now I'm like looking at it in a really different way. Good. And it's like I'm relearning these things but in like a different perspective.
I wanted to understand it, and I thought every time that I did, and then I would do the test and it would be like terrible. I'm like, how did I even get this reply to my fucking answers? Same. Pardon my language, but I'm traumatized about it apparently.
I'm pretty sure I failed chemistry twice.
Chemistry was so difficult. I don't know. Maybe we're just weird.
I loved science too.
Me
and
too.
I like the concept of chemistry, but when you actually came down to the way they were teaching it, it was just so bad.
Yeah. I had the same experience.
Maybe you guys had a different experience. Maybe you guys were like whizzes at it.
Shout out to the chemists out there.
Especially all the like valence structures and the orbital patterns, and it was so...
I'm surprised you remember those too.
It was non-intuitive for me.
Yeah.
But learning about this stuff, I'm like looking at all these different like how copper, you just add in a tiny thing like oxygen or sulfide and you get a totally different material. Some of them crystallize, some of them don't. That's the other interesting thing. Right. It's like Chrysocolla, I don't think is technically a crystal, but malachite is a crystal.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, but I might be wrong. Like, I don't know if
there's all these like variances. Well, that makes sense.
And it doesn't mean it's like not as powerful energetically, but just different. Like when things crystallize, I do think they have a different energy to them, but the minerals, they're still very powerful things.
Minerals, yeah, they're like primal energy, basically, the elements.
The stuff we found, though, that she was just talking about, this is like the biggest piece we found. So we went looking for the Chrysocolla, and we came across a bunch of this stuff, and you'll see a much better shot of it in the video we're about to play.
Yes.
But it's like, it's beautiful. It's either hematite or covalite, but it's
or
like
something else we haven't figured out yet.
Yeah, it's possible. And if you see the video and you're like, I know 100% that's what it is, let us know.
Please do.
But it's got these beautiful sheens and purples and reds, and yeah, I should just play the video. You'll see it.
Well, we were really going for, usually when we're out here, the last crystals, as you guys probably remember, is that we've been finding have been the Sedona fulgurite, which is lightning struck red sand from here. So it's very rare because most places, they aren't Sedona sand. People think Sedona is a very sacred place. We think it too. So it's special on many levels. And so it was really interesting to like go from constantly searching the red earth and the red sand to going to this other place, and we were looking for basically the opposite spectrum color, which was like a green-blue color. And it was really pleasing to my eyes to like have a shift, but I was also seeing a lot of yellows, and like we found a huge variety of like crystallized and minerals and so on. Like the rocks were just phenomenal. So I made a video about it, put on my channel. You guys might have seen it. We're gonna play that, and we're just gonna annotate it together and just show you what our adventure was. So it was nice. We figured out where this location was. It was really nearby.
Oops, that's not right.
Whoa.
Hold on. Let's fix this. Hang with us for a sec. This source is always changing on me.
There you go. Yes, so we had a fun adventure.
There
There were some things that we couldn't capture in the little vlog that I made because I just couldn't whip out my camera fast enough. So we're excited to like add that little insider scoop for you guys.
Yeah.
Who care. It was really neat. It was a fun time.
So right in the beginning, there was the cop had pulled over this bunny, and the bunny was wearing a mask, and it was Easter, of course, but it was still
Sunday.
really weird.
I don't even know if it was a cop vehicle, but it was like the bunny was handing out something to people, but it was so creepy.
Look at that.
And it was wearing like a matching mask with its vest. Like
Yeah.
somebody had to make that. Who was that?
I think
I wonder what they were
I don't
handing
know.
out. They weren't
I don't
there
know.
when we went home, so we couldn't go back.
And then he like continued to wave at me as I like was really far down the street. It's kind of creepy.
So we narrowly avoided that.
So there's a piece.
Yes, this was one of the best ones that I was able to find, and more uniquely, it was surrounded by more of a lighter color. I didn't see any other pieces really that were Mika's joined the party.
You just see your tail.
And you can see here, unfortunately, like we have a green screen on right now, so all of our green, blue rocks and crystals here are not going to show up the best, which unfortunate, but that's why we have another piece of footage that we took in nice quality, so we'll play that too. But yeah, it was really fun to come across and find these rich colors amongst basically, as you can see, like a more tan background. But you can see right behind me on the right that there's like a little mound, and that's more copper colored. And there's a creek on the other side of me that's running down, and that was basically stained copper color as well. So it was a very copper rich area. So it was really cool to see how the copper was interacting with the minerals and stuff there. And it almost seems like there's like just a thin layer of it over top. But we really want to also crack one of these open and see how it like formed inside some of these. But we also don't want to because we're still in love with them. We're a little attached.
Yeah.
I really like this one. It was such a unique
That's
blue.
one of the best ones.
And I like all the white, more like almost quartzy. I think, and then this one, it might go.
That was a really good one too.
throughout it.
Oh, and that one was
That
super
one
dark.
you have right here. So that one is a whole other different kind of look. You can see it's on like a very, very dark medium.
That was malachite, I think.
And it's the greenest one that we found.
And you can actually see the crystals when you look at it close.
And I try and zoom in with my cell phone. Oh yeah, that kind of captured it. So like super fun. We have all of the Sedona fulgurite pieces, at least certain sizes, up on our website. But we might, if anybody, this piece.
This
we're
was
really,
the best one.
We love this one.
Look at that color, like in that landscape. It's so foreign
That
looking.
looked like an Easter egg. Like you just went and you literally found, because that's what we were doing in a way. We instead of Easter egg hunting.
Like, look at that.
This is real life Easter egg hunt.
Look at that color. It just doesn't seem natural at all, but it is. I mean, this was like, this forms naturally here.
Yeah. It thankfully it does catch your eye, but it is funny how it does mesh into the landscape. Like it's hard to spot it from far away, but once you get right next to it, it's like very potent. Good job. Good job, everybody.
You might know this town.
But the sun rays on this one was so beautiful, and I captured it.
J for Jesus.
And also, I loved this little sign. Just talking about how media fuels panic, which I like, and also telling people to read a book, which I thought was so vague but funny.
You know what's weird is, I know you know this, but in that town, there is a wine cellar called Cabal Cellars.
Cabal wine cellar or something.
And it's literally
And it
got
has
the
a
Illuminati
pyramid
triangle.
with the triangle eye on top.
It's so crazy. I know, even Apollo doesn't like it.
Yes.
I know, right? What the heck?
So the cool part that was not in that video that we wanted to tell you about was that, well, Jace first did a tarot reading for himself with my Guardians of the Light tarot that, I don't know, some of you might have seen my deck. And it's mostly characters, and a lot of them are like ascended masters or embodiments of like faith or love or hope or something like that. So they're always like a person.
I totally forgot about this whole thing.
So he does this reading, because this location we were going to, was kind of it is more like a sacred spot, I would say, like considered. So we were like curious why we're being called again to a sacred spot like this to do this thing that's supposed to bring us joy and bring out our inner child. We see the like double meaning there. We're like, okay, it's Easter Sunday. We're going to this sacred spot. We're going to search for these crystals, so we don't know if they're going to be there or not. And so he's like, okay, I'm going to do a reading and see what's going on, if there's anything else. And he gets the card Horus, which is the hawk-headed Egyptian god who is the partner / son to Isis. The story there is kind of weird. But Horus... Apollo.
I don't know why.
Horus, not Apollo. We're not talking about Apollo right now. Sometimes Apollo, the god, gets jealous. And so Horus, bird-headed god, we're always thinking about the bird-headed people for some reason. So we're like, okay, this seems along the lines, like, I'm sure that's what you interpreted. I'm not trying to tell your story for you.
No, that's, you're right on.
So we get there and we're like, okay, whatever. Maybe we'll see an eye, a Horus eye or something like that there. And so we get there and I'm sitting in the car and we pulled up to the sacred site and I'm looking and there's this little crowd of people on the mound and I'm like, what is that? And there's literally parrots and macaws flying in the sky, which this is Arizona. Like, this is not a normal thing to see. Huge birds, and they're really loud. Like, I'm not really like acquainted with them. I've never even been to where they're naturally like hang out in the world, but they were so beautiful and they were free flying. Like these people who this woman, we kind of talked to her. She said that she trains them and she raises them and she lives right next spot. She lives really close, and this little group was watching these birds fly, and some of them came back. And unfortunately, I then watched her put him into this like little dog carrier, which was kind of sad. And I got a video of them like with their claws on the carrier and her trunk, like looking out. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. And then they're like yelling at the other parrots and macaws. There's 2 left who are just enjoying their life, flying around. They're like calling them out, like, and one of them was named Indigo. They're just yelling, Indigo!
Yeah.
And I'm like, those birds, I hope they never come back. Like, they're just poor things. They're just,
I think
they only get a little bit of outside time. But
I mean,
I feel bad for our dog for the same reason.
Well, it's their free will to come back, right? Like,
and they did.
They didn't have to come back.
I'm pretty sure they came back.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like she takes them out there all the time, and they just fly around and then come back. And
it's a beautiful spot for them. So it was cool. I have my, mixed feelings about it because it was kind of harsh to watch them in the little cage.
Yeah, but
I physically experienced that. So
for moving them, that's probably the safest thing, because if she's driving in the car, like if they're just flying around the car, they could hurt themselves and hurt her and cause an accident. Like,
this is true.
There is kind of a reason to.
I know.
But
and they didn't seem that distressed, but it was just the image of it all. It was just very like jarring to me to see. I don't know. Maybe I'm just.
But it is kind of in their free will, right? Like,
they did come back.
I was super impressed that they could just fly around, and then like they were flying like thousands of feet away, like just in the hills, like maybe
down into the valley,
maybe like 1,000, 2,000 feet away.
I don't know.
But
I'm not so.
Like far enough that they were just like little specks, like.
And they couldn't see them. I'm like, they're right. Your bird's over there.
Yeah.
So.
And the fact that it was named Indigo was pretty funny.
Another synchronicity.
But so do you want to show the crystals?
Yes, let's show some more footage because we just want to show you. And then if there's anybody on there that calls to you, let us know as well and reach out to us and we can send them your way. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
If it's not one that
in the cards, if it's in fate, you want to adopt a piece, it would be cool.
All right, let's show you guys what we found.
So that was the one I was just talking.
Of course,
oh, it looks so good.
When you pour water on them, the colors really, really pop. So we poured water on them.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have a mic here. Oh, yeah, we do. Okay. For a second, I thought it wasn't picking up.
So yeah, you can see that it was sometimes on a red.
Yeah.
Sometimes reds and blacks, and then the really bright color. So it really pops.
That one is my favorite.
Which one was that?
Somebody already asked if they could have that one, but
Oh, I don't know.
it's that one's my favorite. So this is that hematite,
Piece that we have here.
or what we think is hematite, and like look at those colors. It's so iridescent, like purples and yellows mainly.
Yeah, a lot of reds, and I'm also seeing like blues and greens as well. It's even hard for the camera to capture it, but we tried. But yeah, the bolder green on the black is much easier. Our poor camera. It's just trying to focus.
That was a really cool one because it was just this little chunk that looks more malachite-y.
It's just been a real treat for our eyeballs to see some greens and blues on the crystals because, again, we've been seeing so much red. We're surrounded by red, so it was just like really, really beautiful.
That one
but
was
there's
awesome.
the red one that I really liked.
If you guys know what this is, let us know. I was thinking maybe bloodstone, but I don't know. It's got such vivid reds, though.
Yeah. And there's a little piece of crystallized black on the very middle top of that. It's really cool. So super fun. I'm sure many of you enjoy going out and looking at all of the rocks and crystals out there. I would encourage you, if that's something that you like and you haven't done it in a while, it is a medicine that I cannot describe. It is so fantastic and really fun for the whole family. And I know it looks like that we did take a lot, but honestly, we also, every time that we'll find something that we like, maybe not one that we want to take, usually with every crystal. And
hold on real quick.
This is the fossils.
Fossil. She found fossils.
I found fossils. And I was just dreaming and thinking about this whole valley being underwater, so that was super fun.
Yeah, and they were like little seashells.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Thank you. Yeah, we like to make little altars. This one was cool too.
Oh, yeah.
The little bubbly, and it had this like burgundy color. It almost looked like lava or something, but I don't think it would be. But yeah, we make little clusters and stuff of the beautiful ones that we want to keep on the land, as almost like I'll pick ones that I really like and I'll leave them behind on purpose and like make them nice because I want to be grateful and I'm thankful for being there, and I want to, if any person or thing comes upon it and sees it, it's just like a little token of love that I like to leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had so much fun doing this with you. It's definitely one of our favorite things to do.
Me too.
And we may end up... Oh, this one
that
was
was a
awesome
really good
too.
one.
This like bubbly,
I don't even know what
crystallized
that is.
on the red rock too, which was surprising because I hadn't seen that to that extent before. This one was beautiful too, so colorful.
Yeah, and I think that green is more... You could tell they're different. Like, it's not as neon. I think that green is more of the serpentine, perhaps, as opposed to the...
one. Oh, that one.
Look at that. Oh.
That was a much better shot.
And we were just finding this stuff. We didn't
expect to see it. We were only going to look, and I found like a little piece. Like the first piece I found was like this tiny little crusty little thing. And I was like, yeah, like it exists. I'm so excited. Oh my God.
Yeah, I accidentally included this when I was copying and pasting the videos. It's a good ending.
That was a good transition there. This was one of the first pieces you found, which had this little brown, crystallized. All of it's beautiful. We were so happy. And now the video's starting over again. So we hope that you enjoyed that footage. We hope this brought you some light. We went there. We had a great time. We came home. The sunshine was shining on us. We were just trying to lift our spirits as much as we could because I feel like a lot of people were feeling oppressed this Easter season by the conditions that we are being like pressured to adhere to for the safety of the globe, which may not even be true facts. Like a lot of people are becoming very suspicious about what's going on, and that's how we kind of felt in the beginning. So we were like, we're not going to hurt anybody if we drive our isolated butts out there. go do this. And then we were supposed to go to a very isolated spot, and there were so many people there at the same time. So it felt like that vortex, because it did feel like a vortex point, was pulling in people for love.
Yep.
And
totally.
it was good. I'm glad that we were able to enjoy that space together. So Horus, the bird-headed god, may have showed up in a little bit of a way. But
well, and, Horus, Egyptian connection, obviously. The Egyptians used, I know at least malachite. I don't know about Chrysocolla, but I have a feeling that they probably did if they used malachite.
Okay.
For a lot of their...
They're so closely...
Right. So if they had access to the one, there was probably the other two.
Right.
And they used it heavily for their jewelry, and they made these, like, funeral masks out of them. And,
Interesting.
Yeah. So another Egyptian connection, which is pretty cool.
I also hope that you guys can hear us okay, because we're trying a new mic setup today, because we did an interview the other day and we were sharing a microphone and we liked the intimacy of it, and we thought we'd see if the sound quality was decent enough with just us sharing one. Feels more natural to me, like seating position wise, so I like it, but
I think we might be a little bit quieter than normal, but let us know how it is. We're going to get there. We're going to get to the perfect
we're trying
production quality, audio volume. We're getting there.
We are, and it these pieces of equipment will accumulate them over time with experience, and upgrades continue to happen. People keep helping us out with upgrades. We're just happy to create this and keep making art out of it the best that we can.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's our story about Easter. I don't think I missed anything else.
I think we got it all.
Apollo came, but he mostly napped in the car the whole time.
Because he scared the parrots, so...
He did. The parrot people were not happy to see us. Honestly, it was kind of funny. I was like, oh my gosh, parrots! And then I walk over there with Apollo, and they're like calling their birds, and they're like, there's hikers coming with a dog, and they're panic in their voices. I was like, oh, we better go back, like, give these people some space. I can understand why they'd be a little on edge, honestly. Their winged babies are...
Yeah.
And our giant beast over here. Oh.
If you're down, you want to do this right now?
Yeah.
All right. Bring that over. All right, now we're going to jump into some of the other links and stories and stuff that we've got to talk about. And first, we wanted to give a shout out to our friends at Hopewell Farm. You might have heard about them. They make amazing quality, full spectrum CBD oil, which means that you're getting the full medicinal benefits of the plant. And we use their product, and we use it for ourselves. We use it with Apollo. We haven't tried it on Mika yet, but we might give her some.
Need some.
Yeah, because she's been having some weird
Actually,
GI.
We should talk about it, honestly, because
Oh, with her?
Yeah, just briefly be like, if anybody has any advice for us.
Yeah.
We're trying to figure it out, but she seems to be passing a little bit of blood in her stool, medically saying. So we've been doing the research and trying to adjust her food and everything, but we'll see. We're working on it.
I think it's her adjusting. Well, she was, of course,
Anyways.
she was a shelter animal, and then we adopted her, and
so
then, the change in diet. And
CBD will be the answer. So we're going to give it her a small dose and see how she's doing and how she's feeling. It's friendly for basically all animals have an endocannabinoid receptors in their own way. So
and they kind of recommend that you do the 250 milligram for the animals because it's the weakest.
Yes.
Although it's just like strength, so you can just if you buy like a stronger one for yourself, like
take less of it.
Yeah. So we personally use the 1,000 milligram one for ourselves. If we're having any pain, we'll do a dropper of that, and it works really well.
Yes. Menstrual pain.
They do have a 2,000 milligram, which is really good for people with serious, like chronic medical issues who want pain relief and who also are trying to heal their body issue. So the 2,000 is
like a daily supplement.
Yeah, that's what I recommend for that. And then the 250 is the smallest for the animals, and then they've got the salve and the pre-rolls, and the salve is great too. We use the salve so much, and it works really, really well for like muscle aches and everything. Really burns. I burned my hand the other day, and it really, really helped with that. So it's good stuff.
We're truly appreciative
Yeah.
to have this medicine in our life, this supplement.
Where's that Trump money? Where's the stimulus bill?
Did we show it? It's also green, so it may not.
Where is it?
It may not show up.
That was weird.
That was weird.
I just heard a voice.
Yeah. Was it you, Apollo?
That was really weird.
I know where it is if you want me to go grab it.
I can go grab it. Where is it?
You don't. Okay, I'll go get it.
Okay. So, for a limited time, if you buy a Hopewell Farm product and you mention Divine Sovereign Beings in the description, they will give you a free Trump 2020 dollar bill. There we go. Hopefully it shows up. Yes, it does. It's pretty sweet stuff. Actually, it shows up really well.
It's kind of funny.
It's, of course, not real money, but it's really funny. And
it's just art.
they're calling it the Trump stimulus bill. So
it can be ironic and serious.
it is art.
It is. Just, it's kind of funny because I like it. It makes it more... It reflects more how I feel about money, how it's just like kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And, you know, you see all these other old guys that you didn't know on our money, but we know or feel and have so much like attachment to this man, and to see him on like a
Looks
bill,
pretty good on there.
He does, but it is kind of funny. You're like, this is silly. Like, we should just stop putting people on our money.
Yeah.
And buildings.
I agree.
And it's a lot of magic going on. Like, all the pictures and things on the money.
I agree.
There's a lot of energy being pushed into those symbols.
Well, that's where on our podcast with Journey to Truth, we were just interviewed by Journey to Truth podcast recently with Tyler and Aaron, who are really good friends of ours too.
Their YouTube channel, we'll put it
awesome
below.
Channel. Yeah, they interview a ton of like really high profile people in the disclosure community, whistleblowers, alternative scientists, like everything.
They do a great job.
Yeah.
And it's consistent, which is, you know, a big commitment.
Yeah.
I know personally how hard it is to like try and do consistent things, and
I'm impressed.
These guys work really hard, and they really crank it out every time.
Yeah. So we got interviewed by them. We had the opportunity to be on their show.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talked about briefly was how the crypto... Oh my God. I don't know if you guys can hear Apollo, but he's just crying like a big baby over here.
We should let him in.
Okay.
He can't take it. Then we'll get back into crypto. Sorry, we're just compassionate parents. We have a hard time.
Okay, come lay down here. Just
Is
every
there
time
any
he's
cat food in here?
every time he's in the studio, I already put it on the table. Every time he's in the studio room, he's like a bull in a china shop. He just trounces everything.
I'll get it.
Come here, buddy. Come lay down. Come here, Apollo.
There's no for you.
Come here. Come here. So anyway, so one of the things that we talked about was cryptocurrency, but specifically Tyler mentioned how he had heard in I think it was like a QHHT session or something like that. Or no, it was one of our friend Shavon's Aura sessions, which is similar to QHHT. And she, or whoever the client was, oh my God, Apollo.
Just ignore him.
This is why I don't bring him in here, because he just goes crazy. Dude, come lay down.
Come here, baby.
Come here. Poor Mika's all
We
disturbed.
should get him like a seat. He can just sit right here.
We need to start giving him some of that CBD oil before the episodes again.
I don't know. Sometimes it makes him sleepy, and sometimes he gets like playful. It doesn't seem to affect his mood as much as...
I think it does. Every time we give it to him, he's just like...
He definitely changes. No, he
Yeah.
doesn't do that every time. I would disagree. Okay, anyways, QHHT.
So, in the session, they said that the Galactics seeded cryptocurrency here as like a galactic technology to transition us out of the fiat money system, because one of the biggest things was
Or the Babylonian money magic system.
right, that thing.
That thing.
And I think was it I don't remember who brought it up. It was either you or Tyler, but brought up that, you know, there's all this karmi,
Some karma.
the karmi with the money. There's all this karma around physical money, and like just even touching it and dealing with it is like there's all this like karma and old energies attached to it, and it's like keeping us in this like Babylonian money magic system. So I guess cryptocurrency was kind of a technology given to help get that, transition us and transmute that, which makes sense to me.
Kind of cut off
Yeah.
all those other behaviors, and
Yeah.
because it's many years, many generations of this thing being programmed into people, so
Yeah.
to totally kind of pull it out of like physically holding it in your hand,
Yeah. Big change.
it's a big behavioral change.
So let's dive into
The next thing.
the stuff.
So again, thank you to Journey Truth for having us, and
So I haven't
please
pulled it
go
up yet.
grab some CBD oil if you're in need. We love supporting our friends at Hopewell Farm.
Do
They're
you-
truly good people.
Do you wanna introduce the next thing?
Okay, so we were talking about our adventure on Easter, which is traditionally Christian holiday to kind of celebrate and witness the killing and then the resurrection of the Messiah, of the Son of God, and it's sort of a metaphor for. Well, I guess it's debatable, but I know it's like 3 days of darkness, and then you rise again. The Christ rises, or the Christ consciousness, or the Christ at heart
Was
rises.
it 3 days?
It's 3 days that he's in the tomb. So they kill.
Whoa.
It's like, I think it's.
I never made the connection between that and like the 3 days of darkness for like the
It's like
ascension
I
shift.
think the third day is when he.
Well,
I feel bad that I don't actually know for sure.
What
the
if that's
story.
What if that's symbolic of the 3 days of darkness for the ascension that they talk about?
Well, yeah, and I know that there's some. It also talks about the time in the winter solstice as well, because it's physically the most dark time on the earth. So, the 3 days of darkness seems to be, and like days of darkness seems to be a common theme. But
Hold on, I gotta check on Paul.
so, we're not practicing any particular religion right now, and I don't think we plan on it. We are more of a, I guess we're divine sovereign beings. We're practicing and relating to the world and our spirituality at our own pace without any type of specific dogma or as much. But there definitely is some areas we keep in the lines. So anyways, we respect those practices as well. It's been a part of our life. We have other Easter traditions, and we grew up with a more like commercialized Easter and so on. But some people are really firmly connected to the symbol of Christ on a cross. It's extremely common symbol for people in Christianity, and that is the time of year when that symbol kind of resurfaces in the collective mind. And so we recently went to a popular church here in Sedona. What's it called?
The Chapel of the Holy Cross.
And it's made into the hillside, which I think you have some pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into it. So we're going to talk about this church because there is a Christ figure and a cross here, specifically ingrained and like enveloped into the rock of Sedona. And it's like, the cross for me is an interesting symbol because, again, I'm not exactly a fan of the idea of putting somebody up on a cross. So to immortalize that symbol in the religion, to me, is not exactly the idea that was really the main point, which in my opinion is love. But maybe there is an argument why cross means love, but I would love to hear it. I haven't come across it myself. So this building takes a lot of energy and space here in Sedona. So we've gone there multiple times, but it's been here a while, and the woman who founded the area, she picked it because there was a structure in the rocks that embodied like Mother Teresa holding a baby Jesus, or not Teresa, Mother Mary holding a baby Jesus,
Mother
the
Teresa.
mother and the child. And I guess the I guess, Native
I'm trying to find a
Americans
picture
who
of
were
it.
living here before also knew this rock as the same sort of like the mother and the child.
Oh, there it is.
And so she wanted to make this church there. So she makes this church, and then it seems like there was
It's hard
some
to see.
drama with the cross theme in this church, and it's like this. And I've seen it recently, but we've found something that we didn't know about this church.
Right.
And we wanted to show you because it gets weird.
So also, just some more context, this church was built by a very famous architect, and I don't remember his name right now because I'm not all up to date on my famous architects, but I know that it was done
That'll
by
be next week.
a popular architect, and it's also like one of the top destination sites in all of Sedona for some reason. Like it
Yeah.
pops up on Google Earth as like one of the only things in the city, like which I just found.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, when you zoom in on Sedona, this is like the first thing that pops up. For some reason, it's like a really big highlight, even though it doesn't seem like it would be as big as it.
And there's
You
a
know,
lot
it's
of foot
made out to
traffic.
be.
They have go-karts that go up and down the parking lot to pick up and drop off people like all day
Golf
long.
carts. Go-karts would be pretty cool, though.
What did I say?
Go-karts.
Oh. There's go-karts.
That would be more interesting
Just little, ooh.
if we raced each other up the
We
hill.
could start a business where we get a really nice car, and then we just kind of like step in and charge tips on. People can give us whatever, but we could just make
You mean
their golf
Uber?
carts look silly. We could get like a Ferrari or something and just drive it up and down the hill.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So Uber.
Like an Uber to the top of the parking lot.
So
Anyways.
the church is built into the rocks, as you can see, and it kind of alludes to there being an underground portion of the chapel itself. So
Right.
this top part is what you walk into when you walk in, and we'll show you a picture of the inside.
And it looks out into the city.
And then there is a brief underground portion where the gift shop is beneath, but it only makes up for what seems to be a portion of what could actually be there, not to mention what could be, like twice the length underneath in the rock, because it's like built into the rock, right?
There was a really good side profile, I'm sure, somewhere that you could see better. That it, like, the rock actually extends really far down. No, you have to go out and zoom out more. Yeah, okay. I was thinking, yeah, that's fine. Anyways, so we didn't really notice this before, but we've been called to this place twice now. There you go, that one right there. Yes. There, that's
Nice.
a little bit more of a depiction. So there are the windows on the left side. That is like bringing light into the gift shop that's underneath. But you can see that, that's just one half of the basement. And there's other rooms in the gift shop and stuff like that are private. So I'm assuming, there is more stuff going on behind there. But this place has given us the willies a little bit of being here. But it's a powerful port, like a vortex point. They say that it is a vortex point. So I think we've been helping to like clear it as well.
So this is what Jesus looks like on the inside,
This is the inside. Yeah.
currently. So you walk in, and this is pretty much the whole thing.
It's just pews.
There's a couple, what'd you call it?
Pews.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like the seating area?
Yeah.
I learned something new.
I've been to churches.
Pews.
I've been to
So,
many.
and then you have Jesus here, and he's golden, and he's on
He's huge.
the tree of life.
And there's 3 golden apples above him.
So a lot of
And you should see his
symbolic
face.
stuff.
Maybe the next one is his face. Okay. So this guy's face, it's the most interesting looking Jesus on a cross I've ever seen, because his face is, I don't know how the person who made this created such an emotion in the face, but it's almost this like compassionate, understanding face. Is that how you would describe it?
Yeah, I'd
Like,
say so.
I sat there and I'm looking up at it, and it really looks like there's a being there actually looking at you, and it's almost like compassion and understanding and like a little bit of sorrow and pain, but it's not like, he doesn't look like he's really suffering that much.
Well, and one of the things that is kind of weird about what the Catholic priests have done with Christianity is that they've taken their savior and they've put him in the most disgusting light the worst like
It's a-
context that you could possibly put someone in, like in their dying moments when they're being wronged. And why would you choose that as the symbol for them, right? You would think that, like when you look at the Protestant Christians, they don't really have this symbol of Jesus on the cross as much. It's more like Jesus, like being Jesus and doing magical Jesus stuff,
Yeah.
which makes more sense to me as like the way you would want to portray your
Or at least the depiction of a Christhood
Right,
being,
right.
a heart-centered being.
And it's kind of this weird inversion of truth that the Vatican and the old Catholic cults have done, where well, the Luciferian kind of
Is it
cults,
Luciferian or is it satanic? Or both-ish?
it's so like semantics.
I know.
Like it depends who you talk to and what they frame the definitions as, but I say Luciferian as like general, like they are praying to deities that are not of the light. They have deities that are of the dark, that are things that you would consider Luciferian. But then that's a whole conversation on like, is Lucifer an actual individual, or is Lucifer an ideology?
Well,
Is it a
I think-
concept? Is it a, you
Right.
know?
And also praying to any idol, in my opinion, is a little bit misguided because it's like pushing your power and holding your power outside of yourself. Like someone has more power over you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
will do your bidding or something. And
So
anyways,
this is the Jesus that's in there now, but it's very different from the Jesus that used to be in there.
the first one.
That the lady who created the chapel, she basically, from a story we heard, she had Jesus come to her one night. She had Jesus speak to her, and so she put up the version of Jesus that came to her, and I'm gonna show you
I
guys.
didn't know that was part of the story.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Oh my gosh.
That's
I
the
totally
story, at
missed
least.
that part.
That this entity came to her, calling itself Jesus, and then this is the Jesus that they put up on the cross.
Now with that context, it's even worse.
Right? Well, that's instantly what I was thinking about. I'm like, whoa, this is some weird demonic-y, or at least like, I don't know, it kind of looks like an alien, like a gray alien.
Well, it's got really, really elongated features like arms and legs and very, very tiny. Like, it doesn't look human.
It's definitely not Jesus.
It's not. And oh, it's like this. Oh, it looks like, I don't know. Looks like some type of demon. You know what it reminds me of? I'm gonna be honest.
Who?
I'm gonna throw it way back.
Who
right
reminds
now.
you of?
Okay.
Hopefully it's not a friend of ours.
Please stay with me. But there's this SpongeBob episode.
Oh, I
with
know what
the-
you're talking
oh,
about.
with where SpongeBob's selling chocolate.
Yeah,
at
the
door.
chocolate guy.
And he's like, "Hello, young lady.
Chocolates!
Can I speak to your mother?" And then she's an elderly lady. She rolls out this like lady who looks just like that, but in a wheelchair.
Chocolates.
Reminds me of that.
Classic.
So that
Great comparison.
lightens it up.
Oh,
Yeah,
why you gotta be so creepy? It's got hair?
I think that's some type of like wreath or like an
Ooh.
aura, but it's like very like dark.
Gives me the shivers.
The Atomic Age. It says Christ of the Atomic Age by Cornelia Suzanne. Suzman?
Suzman.
Is this the atomic age, like when we blow ourselves up? Is that what it's supposed to look like? Here we go. One turns away, observes one hand clasped in prayer, but not.
But not before one has seen the feet, the black, swollen, unbeautiful feet.
Oh, is that out of the Bible? Ugh.
No, David McMahon's.
It's just making me. It's not cute. But we came across this the other day, and we were like, oh, maybe this is why we keep going to this place. Every time I go there, it feels like I'm like helping to
It says this was taken.
fix something.
Yeah.
And so, but I've been having to figure out what it is, and so I think talking about it and being more public about it is going to be helpful. Bringing more attention and energy to this one site, it is suspicious in a way, but yeah, it has a history. It obviously has had many things happen to it. Maybe it's clearing now, It feels like that's what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
It feels like it's trying to repair.
Well, this Jesus is definitely much, like you're saying, much more
It was the most beautiful
compassionate
statue of Jesus on a cross I've ever seen. Like, I went all throughout Europe and saw all these churches, and it was the same deal.
What does it say behind him right here?
Over and over. I think it's some type of, maybe it's Roman or something.
INR
7? I don't know.
2.
So let us know what you think about that. Our humble observations.
Yeah.
Good times. So it was funny that the town that we went to has a big J on the mountainside, and so it felt like it was still Jesus's day in a way. Like, it seems like Big J literally came through in its own way too.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a connection between Horus and Jesus.
Oh.
I think there is.
There is, yeah. They have all the same. There's like that whole set of
they died or something?
deities that have
Or born?
all sorts of things. Dates, the amount of like apostles they had,
Was it
like
Horus,
the
you
12
think?
followers. Yeah, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it was Horus. It was either Horus or Ra, but I'm pretty sure it was Horus.
How
But there's a
fascinating.
number of these deities that all follow the same patterns that Jesus did.
Right.
I remember they went into it
Which
extensively.
makes it seem like it's more of an archetype.
Yeah, exactly. Or, an archetype can still happen physically over and over, though.
I think so.
But yeah, definitely an archetype. In the Zeitgeist documentary, the old one,
Oh, I loved that one.
they had 3 parts.
I
There
love
was
that song.
religion, 9/11, and banking, and they were all really good.
If you
And
haven't seen it,
the religion part, they talk about that.
yes. Okay.
They go over like it's like Horus and Jesus, and I think Muhammad and a bunch of other holy people that have these same patterns. So, yeah.
According to their research, anyways. So, yeah, let us know what you think about that. Paul, you're so sweet. Are you guys gonna behave yourselves?
So, switching things up a little bit.
Let's switch it up.
I don't know if you guys heard, but it got kind of covered up by like all the, crazy. Apparently there's like a pandemic or something going on. I haven't heard much about it, but
No, all I know is that we have toilet paper.
I heard it from a neighbor.
You just heard them coughing.
I just was
That's
like,
a
"Where's all the
terrible joke."
toilet paper? You bought it all."
Yes,
Luckily, we found toilet paper for the first time in weeks.
we did.
We
Shout out
found-
to Walmart.
And disclaimer, we had toilet paper during that time. We didn't go without any during those weeks.
We had to make.
We had
do
other-
with napkins and.
No, we never used
I
napkins.
did.
What?
I had to use napkins.
When?
Oh,
Okay.
no.
But we had those wet wipes.
Right.
I found out when all the toilet paper was being bought, they still had all the wet wipes that were there, which are like, nobody was buying them all. So I was like, okay, that's what we need to get. But, yeah. So we found toilet paper.
Anyways, there's a pandemic going on. People are distracted.
Yeah. And, yeah, we got a little bit distracted there. During that time period, this was like a couple days ago, the White House signed an executive order for space exploration, and specifically they said to reclaim and recover space resources. And
Yes.
on the
recover.
on the mainstream level, it was about mining space resources, so mining the moon, which again, we were talking about mining. Here's mining again,
That's
another a synchronicity in real time. But yeah, mining. And so it included mining the moon and mining Mars, which I'm interested to see what your guys' initial intuition of that is, because I know for me, my initial intuition, kind of based on I think both a combination of my intuition and with programming, but it's like, oh, don't mine the moon, that's bad. We don't want to have this industrialization of space, which I agree with to an extent. Like, we don't want commercial companies draining space dry like they have with the Earth. But at the same time, mining...
Earth is not dry.
Right, it's not. Come lay down, buddy. Come lay down. Mining is like the way that people, well, I mean, it's like in just simply, it's like you're using what's been given to us as divine beings
for free.
Yeah.
And making a profit off it.
But there's definitely that's what I'm saying. There's without the economic and the modern context of it, like every living being that's on a planet, when it reaches a certain state, has to mine. Like, that's one of those words that has kind of changed context because mining has become this big corporate industrial thing where we see these giant mines and these exploitations of the earth. Mm-hmm. But at its core, the beings of the earth will use the earth for the resources that they need.
Yes.
And that's what mining is.
Yes.
And like games like Minecraft and stuff have kind of taught this to kids in an interesting way.
True.
That like whether it's gold or copper or anything metal that you use or salt or anything, like all these things that we have, we wouldn't like, these are things that are like, I believe, gifts to the beings of this planet. But again, we've been exploiting them in a certain way. But my point being that like, I don't think mining, like using the resources of like a planetary body, I don't think that's inherently bad.
Right.
It's like, it's just using what the universe has put out there.
But if you use it and for what you need, that makes sense. But if
right.
you're using it and then
if you're exploiting
not even using it, you're just selling it.
Right.
And then they're selling it, and then everyone's kind of like hoarding it.
Right. That's where like what we experienced with the crystal trafficking at the gem show and everything.
Yes.
That's where it gets into that territory.
And then, slavery gets involved because they're trying to expedite the money-making process, and it can be distorted, but it is a natural human behavior, or a natural living thing behavior.
I'm trying to think if there's any animals out there that do a form of mining, but I think that's probably something that happens when you reach like third density, because animals don't really need to use resources beyond like what is in their immediate environment.
I'm trying to think of like,
which I guess we don't technically need to either.
If there's any type of being or animal that like ants. I'm thinking about ants, and then they like to put.
They do. They like jewels and stuff.
They like to decorate their anthills.
Garnets and metals and.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And they.
Like usually, if you go to an anthill, just beneath the surface layer of dirt, they've like collected all this like treasure. So that is kind of mining in a way. But so that's kind of the
use of the collective.
Yeah.
And to decorate even for pleasure. Maybe?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bro, you are going crazy. This is why I don't let you in here when we're filming, because you just go crazy, but then you're just crying.
I'm a big fan of the Jenna and Julian podcast on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know it, but they have 4 dogs, and they're smaller than Apollo, and they have a dog bed on their podcast table, and they're constantly working with these tiny Italian greyhounds and a giant greyhound and a little chihuahua, and I just feel for them so much right now. But he's like the weight of 2 of their dogs, maybe 3 of their dogs, so we just compacted it all the chaos into one little body instead of 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And Mika's just gently laying here, existing, and that also gets him excited sometimes. So.
Yes.
I know we're talking about him a lot, but it's our life, it's our house. Welcome to our house. So, mining.
So, yeah, we keep
getting distracted by the dog and me and everything.
So so that's kind of the mainstream side of this, right? That they signed this executive order, basically saying that the mining was only a part of it. It was also talking about how they wanted to bring together the various space agencies and groups to put us back out into space, and they said put humans on the moon and on Mars and beyond, which of course most of us already know that that's already happening. And that's where the words that they used in this executive order were really interesting, because they said they wanted to recover and reclaim space resources, which when I first read it, to me was like recover and reclaim sounds like it's already there, right? like there's, and we already know this, that there's space infrastructure that's already there. We already have bases on the moon. We already have bases on Mars and in the other planetary bodies, and likely, other solar systems too. So it's like, to me, it's like this could be the step towards disclosing that, right? And even in the sense, if they just like push this forward, even in the most 3D sense,
Right.
and we get to the moon and we get to Mars, well, eventually we're going to find out about what's there, whatever it is. Like they won't be able to hide it forever. So, and that's what I feel like they did with like the Apollo missions, and after they cut them off, it was kind of a smokescreen so that they wouldn't continue, like our space presence was diminished.
Apollo 13, that there was an Apollo 17 after that? I saw that the other day.
An official Apollo 17?
Yeah, Apollo 17 exists.
Huh.
It was like another mission.
Huh. Well, there's several. I don't remember how high it goes.
But isn't that weird? I wonder
Yeah.
if that's going to come up at any time.
I wonder if I don't remember what the last Apollo mission was, but then there's all these like theories and insider testimony of like Apollo 20 and onwards. Remember, have you seen the one where they find the alien and she has like a big third eye and she's like tan?
No.
You haven't seen that one? It's like supposed to be unofficial Apollo 20 video footage, and they find like this being in stasis.
No.
It could totally be fake, but it's interesting
I'm
nonetheless.
surprised I hadn't seen that yet.
Yeah. So yeah, so that's
So we're
I thought that was
recovering
interesting.
stuff in space to mine things.
Right.
Is kind of the feel behind the title, which was exciting because we're like, yeah, we hopefully are recovering a lot of the things that have been privately or secretly established infrastructure out in space, which I think what Space Force is trying to like bridge that gap, and it will in our lifetime. So it's nice to see that this verbiage is being used. It's very, very interesting, and it kind of falls along the line of the conspiracy that we're or the truth, really, that we're watching unfold in front of us.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what else has that lovely man been up to? If you wanna.
So
What's next?
in other Trump news,
He's
he's basically
basically the most popular person on the planet. Let's be honest.
probably.
Like, it's so funny how much attention we have to spend to this person now. It's good. Anyways, go on.
Makes me wonder how many of the if there's any similarities to Trump's archetypes with like other really influential people. I mean, I know there
Like
definitely
Jesus?
are. Well, that's what came to mind. I'm like, I wonder if there's any weird like synchronicities between him and Jesus, or like,
Or Horus or something.
or yeah, any world influential person.
Archetype.
Yeah. So he is basically publicly going after the World Health Organization, halting funding for the WHO, and really putting a lot of criticism and eyes on what the WHO's doing. And of course, the World Health Organization is very prominent right now with this thing going around, this little bug. And they've put out a lot of misinformation, and they've worked really heavily with the CCP in China, which of course is like a huge dark power of the world, the CCP.
It's like a big control structure.
Yeah, totally. They controlled a lot of the American deep state assets, and that the whole Chinagate thing is going to be coming out, I believe, very soon. And I mean, it's coming out already, and it will continue to, with the extent that the Chinese government was involved with foreign influence over us. And so Trump has kind of started publicly attacking the WHO. And you had just talked about the WHO, right? In a video of yours?
I did.
When I told you about this morning?
The World
Because you were
Health-
like, I just talked about that.
Yeah, the World Health Organization drama came to mind, and I was thinking about the concept of a World Health Organization, and in my opinion, how silly it is compared to like to have a governing body over the world's health,
Right.
which like to me it's just such a silly thing. I believe that health is very much a consciousness and vibrational based thing, which I'm sure the World Health Organization actually knows, and to consistently keep trying to push out all of these older technologies for health and sort of separating health from someone's own ability by saying it's this thing that's going to make you healthy instead of like you and your consciousness and what you're doing with your body is going to keep you healthy.
By this thing you mean the vaccines with the nanites in them, because that's what they're trying to,
vaccines or whatever.
That's basically what they're trying to push now. Bill Gates and the WHO and all these, the
drama.
They want to microchip the vaccines, and then I don't know if you heard about this.
I've been hearing about this for
Well, but now Bill Gates is actually saying
years.
that people should not fly internationally if they don't have, if they're.
Goodness. That's enough. Let's go.
Playtime's over.
Get out. Ow, ow, ow.
Outside, buddy. Go on. So, they basically, like, Bill Gates, among others, are trying to prevent all, like, travel and public gatherings and all sorts of stuff with, like, verification that you've been vaccinated for COVID and other things. So what they want to do is put, like, a small microchip in you, and then if you have it, they'll scan it at the airport or whatever, and then you can travel, or then you can go to like the party you want to go to. But that's like the kind of dystopian 1984 type world that these guys want to put us in, which is not the timeline that we want to be on. So
we don't need permission slips from anybody to travel anywhere.
Exactly.
Either.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, that's. The level of control that's being exercised over the population is, I think, becoming extremely obvious right now. And who's to say that in old vaccines that we hadn't...
Who's to say?
Who is to say that old vaccines that we've been given as babies, like
who's to say?
No consent.
That's who says.
Yeah. Who
says that?
Was not infiltrated by some type of private agenda.
Yeah.
Like it's the money following the money and following... the power. It's
Yep.
Yeah. So
well, anything else you want to say on that?
I'm glad that WHO is being exploited for what they're doing on a more public level, and that Trump is standing up against it, which is very impressive to me, because I again don't agree. And you can disagree with me if you want, that's fine, but I feel very strongly about, again, being a divine sovereign being, in that
well, and I know
it needs to be more of a community
totally
health awareness, not like a governing body. It's more of a community-based thing.
So many people are so reliant upon the WHO right now for their like information on if they should be scared or not, or what they need to worry about.
And they've been putting out some really fear-based things.
Yeah.
At least the things I've seen, like quotes like from WHO official or whatever.
Yeah. Well, did you see that thing? One of the guys from the WHO literally talked about taking children out of their homes.
Yeah, it's almost comical. It's almost like these aren't really WHO officials, and they're really just saying the worst thing that they can to make do for lost time and old bad things, so people can be like, hey, I don't like this. But
maybe
they've been doing it for years. And
he literally said that
everyone can act.
He said that the spread of the virus is mainly occurring between children, which is not true from what I've seen at all. The children don't seem to be getting it.
I know how it's spreading.
But
that's going to be the next article.
He's saying that the schools are where it's spreading, and at homes, and that if children have it, then they should go into homes and basically confiscate the children and take them to another facility, which just... that makes me think of like the Golden Compass type thing, where they took all the children and had them.
Or like Nazi Germany.
Yeah, or
the Holocaust.
Any of these groups that do this kind of thing.
The Haitians.
So I think it's good that he's being outspoken about the WHO now, and we should see some more development along that level.
Yes.
Continue.
This is an action towards protecting the people, in my opinion.
Yes.
So that's good to see. It's the narrative's continuing to go towards protecting the people,
right?
And exposing control structures.
And if for whatever reason, like, you're still feeling that Trump is not working for the light here, I'm curious to hear your interpretation of like the World Health Organization and Bill Gates and all these groups that are pushing the heavy vaccines, because it's really hard for me to
relate.
To anybody who considers himself to be like a divine sovereign being, which is everybody. But anybody who really like internalizes that, I don't think wants anything to do with any foreign materials being injected into your body, especially ones that are computer related.
Or so just viruses made in a lab or whatever. Right. Something foreign.
Right. So if Trump really is, not working for the good, then why would he be going after these groups which are very adamant about this? And he's also been outspoken about vaccines. Like, I'm sure some of you might be like, well, Trump has been pro-vaccine lately, and he's been talking about getting the vaccines out. And he wasn't. He was.
He's been stalling.
Before, yeah, it's been an interesting game of stalling and playing optics in the public and making sure that he's not saying anything that's going to get him heavily criticized.
Yeah.
Because in the past, before he was president, he was very outspoken about not supporting the way that the vaccine industry was operating and vaccines in general. And since he's become president, he's kind of had to, you have to be careful about what you say, because if you were to say something like that, you can't just say opinions like before you were president. You have to back things up with evidence, otherwise the media will come after you like crazy.
Like, you're not a doctor.
Right.
Which is like, what is a doctor really?
Right.
University approved healer.
Yeah.
Funded by the WHO.
And that's where
or something.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
I was going to say, I saw a quote today that Trump had mentioned, and I have no idea if this is real, but I thought it was funny. But they were saying, are you going to support the vaccine from, what's his name?
Fauci?
No, the Microsoft guy.
Oh, Bill Gates.
There we go. I'm like, Bill, I don't know why I don't know his name off the top of my head, but that's okay with me, honestly. That puppet in the play has also been very interesting lately. It's very weird. But, saying that, yes, I would like to see Bill Gates and his family take the vaccine first, basically.
Oh,
they believe so strongly in this vaccine. I can't wait to watch them get vaccinated.
Yeah. Go ahead, be the first ones.
Yeah, I'll do it when I watch you and your family do it or whatever.
Okay, so now that we're talking about Bill Gates, I'm going to go ahead and skip to the next thing. I'm going to skip this one. We'll come back to it. The funny one. But it just makes more sense right here.
Okay.
We'll come back to it.
Fine.
So
I'm just chasing the laughs.
If you didn't hear...
Okay.
This is related to Bill Gates, so I want to tie this in, because we're talking about Bill Gates and the WHO and like what they're doing here.
We're flowing.
So Microsoft, which of course Bill Gates founded and also stepped down from recently, at least publicly.
Well, maybe he didn't fund it or find it. Maybe that's not even true.
Well, okay, you could do that all day.
I can.
What if the Earth is flat?
What if it's not really here right now?
Oh, we're disappearing. Just kidding.
Oh. Okay, I'll stop.
So.
I'll move out of the place. I'll go over here.
Come back. I like your existential hypotheticals.
It's my Aquarian moon.
So Microsoft put out this commercial with famous dark occultist Marina Abramovich.
Oh, that's what you're gonna call her? She's a performance artist.
Oh, she's a performance artist. Sorry, she's not a Satanist. She's not a.
Everybody could technically call themselves a performance artist.
Oh my god!
Just FYI.
Well, that's what's crazy is that the people who know her and like are in tune with like the occult and spirituality on both sides, the light and the dark sides of the occult, know that this woman is a witch. Like, she is...
They highly suspect.
No, this woman is a witch. There is no way this woman is working for the light. She is... how can you...
You're a savage.
I'm just saying it how it is.
You're probably... I've only ever seen really horrifying things about this woman. So to have her appear out of nowhere and have Microsoft be the one posturing her makes me go, looks like they're trying to kill a few birds with one stone. Like, this is just so weird.
Marina Abramovich is officially a performance artist. Like, that's where I remember learning about her in my art class in college.
Really?
Yeah. And like we watched this segment where she got she did this performance segment where she would like stare at people in the eyes and they wouldn't talk and they would just stare at each other. And she did it with like her ex-husband and like all these other people while a bunch of people watched. They just stared at each other, and then eventually like the other person would end up crying. Like weird. Yeah.
That's hot.
Yeah. So
Let's do that next podcast.
she does these things that are under the illusion of being performance art, but she's even made comments about it's art when it's in the public, but when you do it at home, it's a ritual. I remember her saying something about that. And she has this whole TED talk about that, about like ritual-based art and how these performance segments are really rituals and they're not really art, but we call them art. And
so it's bridging those two.
right, because you're basically you can get away with doing anything like that and make it normal by calling it performance art. So she'll do things where she like pretends to cut open her stomach and pull out organs, and she like does a lot of stuff with blood. And of course, one of the most famous things she's been involved in was the spirit cooking, which came out with the Podesta Hillary Clinton WikiLeaks emails, where they found the Clintons and the Podestas speaking with Marina about spirit cooking. And then these videos were surfaced of Marina and a couple other people doing spirit cooking, at
like
least
a
part of it, where they were writing on the wall in blood. They were writing like negative mantras in blood and semen and breast milk. It was like a mixture of the three, which I'm sorry, like I know that's kind of graphic, but I want to point out why I really firmly believe this woman is not working for the light. There's a famous clip of her writing, push the knife deep into your hand and eat the pain, like in blood on the wall.
Right. So these are not really the rituals that seem to be that
this is like the
benevolent, I would say. Like it's a lot of like self-harm, like it just kind of subconsciously it talks about pain and self-harm, because blood is almost except for like maybe menstrual blood or like a blood after birth, but even those things are connected to pain,
right?
And so
blood is okay, like blood is sacred,
of course, but
when you're using like,
is there really an unpainful way to access your blood when you're alive? I mean, unless you don't get that much. You know, if you've got your supplements figured out and you're not getting all your menstrual cramps, then there you go. That's some sacred blood. And I'm sure there's artists all over the world who are doing art with that as well. Like it's thing, but it's when you have the intention to negatively enforce like a negative mantra, then you're like, okay, this isn't really the realm that I want to play in.
Right.
And then you're like, why are all these people who are very influential, famous people doing these rituals and these performances with this woman? Why are they gravitating towards this particular art form?
Right.
Instead of, doing a ritual where they clean up garbage all day. Like, I don't know. Or like look at and hold somebody or whatever. Make a song about love. I don't know. There's options out there. But so we were going to watch this video, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Let's watch it.
Okay. I haven't seen it, so this is kind of a surprise for me. 'Cause
I haven't seen the whole thing.
I've got a couple surprises for him in this episode as well.
I also want to point out this woman is like almost 80 years old. She...
So just take that as you may.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that art of the future is art without objects. It's just pure transmission of energy between the viewer and the artist. To me, mixed reality is this answer.
This was a unique opportunity to take the most legendary artists working now and capture them in such a way that they are translatable forever.
If you're a collector, you're trying to find works that break new ground. We here at Christie's believe that this is that. And it will be the first time that a mixed reality artwork is sold at auction.
There was always a question what you buy when you buy performance. You buy the video or you buy the edition of photographs. Here, you actually can have the artist's presence in your collection.
The first thing that we had to figure out was you had to feel that you were in the room with Marina, not a document of Marina. So HoloLens 2 was created by people who quite clearly have an interest in the audience forgetting that they are using technology. So the purest expression of artistic intent can happen.
I really want viewer to be with me in the space, in here and now. The life is dealing with what is going to stay after I'm not there anymore. And I can face myself. And that's a frightening experience. Really like you're facing your own ghost. There is always this great idea of immortality. Once you die, the work will never die because the work of art can continue. In performance, the piece is only in the memory of the audience and nowhere else. Here, I am kept forever.
Wait, say that again? It just says Microsoft.
Yeah, like at the bottom, there's just a Microsoft next to the Christie. We
Microsoft.
should look into Christie's and what they're doing.
So say again what you said during the video.
Oh, I said, okay, so this woman is in a way being immortalized in the AI realm. So I kept getting, when we were watching
Ooh,
this,
look, the one eye.
oh, good catch. When we were watching this, I got so many things. I was
Yeah.
thinking about how, this may have already been used to televise or share rituals that were happening. So if you couldn't go, but you could be there, or you could replay the moment, like he said, that you could replay and get pictures and videos of these rituals.
Right.
So that was not
wouldn't
great.
even think about that.
And then thinking about how I also was getting the impression, and I've been getting this a lot lately, is that the technology to make visuals like that we see, like you think that you're looking at a bunch of people in a museum and that you think you're looking at her physically there talking to you, and then
Right.
she's putting on the mask and then watching her virtual self, which is
Right.
obviously more like low grade. I was getting that it's possible that she's not even really there at all. Like what they filmed of her real life, she's not actually there. Like that is also not real.
Like it was digitally made?
Yeah, like the potential and the capacity of creating these digital images and like
Right.
masking and all that stuff, I think that it's far more advanced than we've been allowed to know. And I know I've seen stuff about it out there. I've never seen like the quality, like an actual honest being like, this is what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
But I was getting that was very possible that she may not even be around anymore. Like I'm pretty sure this woman has probably been taken and arrested, or maybe even
I hope so.
she's gone or something. But
I mean, she is one of the top
if
tier
she
ones.
really is one of the high witches or some ritualist of the dark occult, then
Yeah. Well, that's where like
this is almost just weirdly comical to watch. Like,
Yeah.
it's very like, ugh.
I feel like so many of these things are happening that are setups by what we've been calling the alliance, like the good guys that have retaken control of government and corporations and media for the most part. I don't think they've totally like taken over, but
I think they have to do it gradually, or else people will be reactive and
yeah. So I feel like they're doing these things where they're like making what the deep state would have done in that situation. They're doing it and doing it really obvious. So like Biden, I feel like that's what's happening with Biden.
Yeah.
Like what's happening with Biden is so painfully obvious
and we have some.
that it's like forcing everyone. Oh yeah, that's the next thing.
Well, when I saw that one video today,
It's
of
forcing
the,
everyone to
Pope
know.
turning around and walking back
Oh
into
my God.
like
Oh, I wish we
a
had that
patio
on here.
door, and he just like glitches out at the last second. It's like, oh, weird.
We should have put that on here.
Yeah, but yeah, he's like standing out a window. It's from a far distance, but you can still see him.
But it's
and
from the
he's standing.
news.
It turns around and he walks back in, and then it just like glitches out, and he completely disappears before he's actually fully entered and disappeared naturally into like the building. So
Yeah, totally.
it's
Like what?
it's becoming exposed.
That's like what you were just saying about them being digitally put into these situations sometimes. Like it might not even be real.
Man, some of the like, who knows? Like all of these characters who were once being exposed more in the like underground community of all of these horrible things that they've done, they are now kind of resurfacing in the public narrative.
Yeah.
And they don't really look the same, and they're acting strange, and it's kind of like, it's almost like a puppet show in
Yeah.
my opinion, because there's
Well, Q does call them puppets, right?
So, I think we're all just watching a show going on. I mean, it always was kind of a show, but now, like, the puppet master maybe is benevolent. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling that way. It seems, but I also don't relate or understand the pace that they're going at. But I don't relate and understand every human being walking the earth with a TV.
But it's also like going so fast for the average person. Like what's happening right now is almost too
capturing it all.
This is like
I'm not capturing.
This is like the limit of what people I think could handle. Like if it was any faster than this, people would lose their minds. Like with
their
the changes.
Reality would.
Yeah,
it's already happening.
You can't rip someone's reality out too quick, or they're just gonna crumble.
The gentleness of it is also very compassionate and benevolent too.
Yeah.
Which is, that reflects me and what I have this like darkness in me that kind of likes the chaos and wants things to kind of be more messy and fall apart and be more.
Well, I think.
Honestly,
I think that's like that.
They say it's like
the Shiva,
Kali.
Like right, like the destroyer of like, but it's in, which makes me understand it a bit more.
It's pleasurable almost in a way to watch it just like.
But it's not.
Blow up.
It's not like create chaos just for the sake of chaos, because that's what the dark does. It's like.
Yeah, no.
It's like destroy the chaos, which may be more chaotic in the moment when you destroy it.
Destroy the illusions, really.
Right.
But yeah.
Hey, someone should make a channel about that.
I think so. It probably would do really well. That's funny. Yeah.
So, well...
Wow. What did you think about that video? We'd love to hear about it. That's what we think. That was my honest reaction. And the AI goggles just really was a cherry on top.
Well, and she's like, I'm going to live forever in this world, which is like, that's the transhumanism thing.
It seems like you are. And
so this video got such bad reception. It got like 300 up. This is a reposting of the video, by the way. It got like a couple hundred up, like thumbs ups, and like thousands of thumbs downs.
Like 24,000 I saw.
And so they took the video down.
On
Microsoft took it down.
YouTube channel.
Yeah. And then this one has been re-uploaded. It's got 61,000 views, 266 likes, and 4,000 downvotes. Which
is kind of rough.
Well,
So yeah, look into her if you're interested in her colored history, but it's gotten to, I'm pretty sure at least the things that I saw were very, very dark and twisted and like, it's not great. And so I'm glad that's getting like brought to the surface again. So people like us who now have knowledge of her from like being more dark, and we're now getting stoked by the media to talk about this again,
right,
and educate others and share this extra data. So
well, and I see, yeah, sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. Just do it.
I totally see this exposing. I mean, Bill Gates is already being exposed so much out of this.
Right.
If she ends up getting more limelight on her because of that, then that's gonna bring up. It's gonna. I feel like we're being given all the public is being given all of the breadcrumbs around what happened with Pizzagate, and of course that is only the tip of another iceberg. Right. But like that came into the public rejected it because they weren't ready, and now we're getting like these seeds again. The Epstein thing happened. The Clintons have been exposed for more stuff. Of course, the Q operation happened. People were prepared to receive this information again. And, of course, this woman has deep connections with the Clintons and the Podestas and everything they do. And that could come back to bring light on that again.
Yes.
Make that public.
At least according to these, was it CIA or FBI documents about the Podesta emails? WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
The motivations behind that and everything, who knows? But this discombobulated cloud of information is going to get smoothed out. The more people who are aware of it, and the more people who talk about it, in my opinion. So it's unless there is these giants that are going to take hold of the narrative and broadcast it to people and kind of try and brainwash their opinions. It's good that we all have our own natural reactions, like feel what your body feels when you look at her, when you see her move, when you see her talk about being immortalized in the machine. It's up to you how you really feel. Forever. Okay, we are running a little long on our episode.
Let's keep going. We're almost done. So this was the other thing. We were just talking about Mr. Biden here being the example of the alliance putting
Puppetry.
puppetry, like making the puppetry so obvious so that people question it. And I feel like with Biden, this guy is very likely a clone. That's my opinion.
Or generated by a computer
I think
visualizer. But he's been publicly standing places, so
he's not a real human anymore. Something's not right with
we're
him.
suspicious about this person.
So him and Lady Gaga teamed up for a sexual assault PSA. And Lady Gaga is also heavily tied into Miss Marina over here. Lady Gaga sought counseling and basically dark spiritual counseling advice from Marina. And they're very fond of each
When did you
other.
learn that?
It's just a thing. It's been around for...
Okay.
Yeah. I saw it popped up
Where's
again
your
recently.
source? I need your sources.
Well, you can just look it up. I mean, they're friends. They've spoken publicly about it.
Right.
And what they said that they had Lady Gaga came to her for like spiritual counseling, basically as like an apprentice, I imagine. And one of the things that was reported that Marina Abramovich had her do was to get completely naked, go in the middle of a forest, and spend the night there, and then try to survive and get back to whatever land they were on from the forest. And there's even a video of Lady Gaga walking around Marina's property like completely naked and like with horns on her head and like just doing weird stuff. There's one of her holding a giant crystal that's the size of her body. She's cuddling it naked.
I haven't seen these.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. They're weird.
That's okay.
They're all of course censored, but they're
just-
like there's videos of it on YouTube.
Cuddling and a crystal naked doesn't always have to be a bad thing.
No, but it really
But I understand.
it really shows you the extent of, because a lot of people are frankly unaware that there is a dark spiritual path. And
Yes.
they assume that anything that is spiritually more advanced than them is a positive thing, which is, I believe, inherently wrong.
Right.
Because there are dark and light spiritual paths. The Law of One talks about this, like basically until the sixth density or sixth dimension, whatever you want to call it, or it could be like the 12th dimension and
Grade 6
whatever
of
conversion,
consciousness.
whatever conversion skills you use. But yes, sixth grade consciousness is when they kind of become one again. But until that point, they polarize, and so you have highly polarized beings of light, highly polarized beings of dark, and like so these spiritual concepts like using crystals and crystal technology and using meditation and prayer and ritual, they're used by both sides.
And animal parts and spirits.
Right. But it's all about the intent.
Right.
What is your intent behind it?
And what you're doing almost with, it's like, even if you're staying in your own sovereignty as well. Because I feel like a lot of the time on the more darker side, it's more of like almost a giving away of your own energy to something else.
Sacrificing.
Yeah. And
Energy. On an energy level, you're sacrificing your energy
yeah.
for some kind of gain.
Which is a choice you can make. Like, that's part of the growth, that's part of the path, it's part of how it seems to, at least the book he's talking about and the information in there has been consistently very intriguing, and we continue to have conversations about it because it seems to really do apply to the actual mechanics of how, like, polarization and how the soul's journey kind of can choose and where you're moving your energy around out of what chakras and all this, and it's been very educational and continues to come up. So I think we're going to be having a guest on that's going to be helping us dive into a little bit more research on it too and compare it to other things. We'll see. We might start doing guests on
No
our
spoilers.
show, so we'll see.
So Biden and Gaga teamed up. Just real quick, quote: I'm not only with a great friend, but a fierce advocate, Biden says of Lady Gaga in the PSA, which is part of the It's On Us campaign. So that's what they're calling it. They're calling it It's On Us when it comes to sexual assault, which to me seems like
This is
another...
comedic. Like,
Yeah.
this looks like an Onion
Right.
article to me.
It's on us, like, oh yeah, we're the ones doing it, right? Like, how much more obvious can it be?
How many more videos of Biden sniffing kids do I have to look at before this is like...
I'm here with not only a great friend, but a fierce advocate. Lady Gaga has been the voice for people who have been forgotten and people who have been abused. Until it happens to you, well, it happened to her. And she's shown enormous courage. And we want to make it real clear. It's on us, it's on everyone to intervene, to stop abuse when they see it and when they hear about it, to intervene. It's no man has a right to raise a hand on a woman for any reason other than self-defense, ever, period.
And that's not to leave out the men as well.
That's true.
I am a sexual assault survivor, and I know the effects, the aftermath, the trauma, psychological, physical, mental. It can be terrifying, waking up every day feeling unsafe in your own body. But we're here to remind you that it's important to reach out to someone in your life that you can trust, and to know that they will be there to help you. There will be someone to listen. Because you know what? It's on us.
Now it's on.
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
As I was saying, first I noticed his weird eye at the end. It seemed like it's very strange. But I liked her message, ironically. And then also what kind of archetype that she's embodying. It's very like Madonna-like in almost many ways. And what's the word? Marilyn Monroe and the same sort of vibe going on.
Yep.
And it's...
Yeah, the message wasn't inherently bad, which is makes
good,
me think even more so that it's like the alliance is behind this stuff and they're just trying to make it more obvious but also put out a good message at the same time. But seriously, the It's On Us campaign, that's what they're going to call it. Yeah, it is on you guys.
Yeah.
But I think they're both, probably survivors of the abuse and also perpetrators, because that's how these cycles work,
I do.
So
it's good that that they're trying, or whatever's going on. At least the message is good. I don't really trust the people giving the message. I'd prefer to hear the message from someone like you, or basically,
yeah.
I don't know, way less suspicious people. But I understand that there's a purpose behind using them and with their backgrounds and as this character. But it's very interesting. So I'd like to. I'm looking forward to reading the comments over this podcast for sure.
Yeah, lots of interesting stuff to talk about.
Okay, so we are.
All right, funny stuff.
To wrap up, and so we're gonna lighten it up a little bit with this Daily Star article. Two things I have. Daily Star article that I saw that I laughed so hard, and I didn't even read it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did not read it because I was like, this is just enough for
It's
me.
the farts.
It's the farts.
This isn't the first time we've heard about farts being a big culprit. The cat. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about the
Okay.
like all the climate change stuff where they're saying the cow farts are causing global warming.
There we go.
The
globe is also in the title here.
Yeah, so it's not the
Farts
first
on the
time
globe.
farts have been made the enemy by the world powers.
And that's like almost like a root chakra sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, farts are the culprit, which
It could be spreading to the globe.
I wonder if someone's going to be like,
Through
Mr.
farts.
Trump, what about the farts? Are you taking precautions about farts in the office? Yes.
Mr. Trump, how are you making sure that you're not farting on other people? Tests carried out earlier this year have
people's farts.
shown that the virus was present in the feces. Is that different than feces? Feces? FAE?
I don't know.
The feces of more than half of
Feces.
patients with COVID-19. And doctors have previously warned farts contain tiny poo particles that can spread bacteria.
But this is not a bacterial thing.
Yeah, it's not.
Get your story straight.
But the virus is in the feces.
Look at the picture. Oh my god.
The other person would also have to be sniffing the fart from close proximity to be at risk. What the fuck is this article? So farts could be spreading it, but only if you're sniffing other people's butts.
17. Go above the woman clutching her butt cheeks.
17 days past exposure.
Oh. Delicious. How many stock photos are there of people hiding their buttholes like that?
Yeah,
At
what the
least
heck?
2.
Creepy. All right. That was a good one. Good share. Ready for the last thing?
Ready for the last thing.
Alexis always has a good TikTok to share. I haven't seen this one yet, so
I've been waiting.
I'm pretty excited.
It's
Make sure the volume's
trying
loud
to
enough.
keep things simple in our life sometimes.
All right, here we go. Hopefully the volume's good.
Okay, so story time. I had this little mouse that I named Billy Bob that was living in my pantry. He's been there for months. Today I heard him squeaking in the pantry, so I went and looked, and guess what? He got his head stuck in the rigatoni. Okay, so story time. I had this little mouse that I named Billy Bob that was living in my
He got his
pantry.
head
He's been there
stuck
for months.
in the
Today I heard
pasta?
him squeaking in the pantry, so
Oh
I went and looked,
my
and guess what? He got his
gosh.
head stuck
Look
in
at that little head. How does that even happen?
You're hungry.
Wow.
It's rigatoni, Bruno.
Rigatoni. Man, that's
I
hardcore.
love the sweet little Australian accent.
Yeah.
Or I'm assuming it's Australian. But
Yeah,
I sent that to my sister because she's in Australia, so
that's funny.
fun times. People are really critical of TikTok, but it's a really beautiful place in a lot of ways. So I'm still an advocate for it. There's whack stuff on there too, and I think that's good that I'm seeing it because I'm commenting and reporting them. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is black witchcraft. You can't be doing this. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
child trafficking, and this is non-consensual, and this is violence. And, just. And then I laugh my butt off at the next one. So
I'm grateful that you sort through all of them and show me the best
there's
ones.
polarity. It's a polarity game. Keeps me entertained.
Hmm.
And then there's cute little mice that get saved and carry on with their beautiful little life.
I have mixed feelings about TikTok, but the ones you show me, the ones that you curate, are really funny.
Thank you.
So I'm grateful that you're diving into that world and
I'm
being the
happy to do
filter.
it.
And
I'm happy to do it. Follow me on TikTok if you want to see my curated list of things.
What's your TikTok?
It's Ascension Diaries. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure.
Oh, speaking of ascension, I
Oh.
heard Trump said the word ascension in his briefing today. And it was
Literally.
in the context of he was naming off all these companies, and he said Ascension Health. He was thanking a series of companies, and one of them was Ascension Health. I believe it was Health. And yeah, I was like, man, someone's got to isolate that clip and just like make a song about Trump singing about Ascension. Ascension, Health,
Do it.
everything you need. All right, y'all. It's been a fun time.
It's been fun.
Thanks for hanging out. If you'd like to support us, go to our website, check out these awesome crystal fulgurites. I think you're gonna like them. We have a bunch of different sizes, and people have been really loving them. They are, again, petrified crystal lightning, and this is a great way for you to support us and us to be able to give something to you. Great energy exchange, I think.
And we also have handmade, hand-painted shirts on there.
Yeah.
And I also have tarot reading sessions available on there. And we have a donate button as well if you're just like, I want them to get better microphones. Or better lighting or better green screen or something, whatever.
Lighting is what we could probably...
We're open we're open to some help as always, and as well as sign up for the email list on the website so you can get the podcasts sent to you by email every time that we upload them.
There you go.
And yeah, that's what we've created together. Exciting. We want to maybe do events later on, and we'll just keep expanding. So
Well, thank you guys for hanging out.
yes, and thank you again to Hopewell Farm
Yes.
for their support.
Limited time. If you buy a product and you mention Divine Sovereign Beings when you check out, they'll send you a Trump stimulus bill.
Hopefully they
There you
have
go.
some left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Get them while supplies last.
Get them while supplies last. Well, let's close the space.
All right.
All right. There you go. There you go. Let's clear it out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you, we love you. Thank you for listening to all of us and our opinions and enjoying conversation with us and spreading the love and having some laughs. And let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about in the podcast as well. Just message us.
Or if you want to see us like play a game again, like we did that one time. I say that because that was pretty fun. I had fun playing the game. If you guys want to see that everything game again, this time we'll expand bigger than the universe and see what happens. Or I have some other random cool games that I found that I think might be cool.
Yes.
But,
There's a few.
Let me know if you guys are interested in that kind of thing.
Okay.
All right, guys.
We love you very much.
Guys and girls, aliens, all beings.
All beings.
We love you.
We love you.
And we'll see you next time.